Dear students, today we will continue with our yesterday's class, India between 2nd century BC and 3rd century AD. So India between 2nd century BC and 3rd century AD, as you already know, was ruled by many dynasties, and the entire India was divided into several regions. There were several regional kingdoms. In the previous class we studied about certain dynasties like the Sungas, the Kanvas, the Sakas, the Pahlavas or the Parthians. Pahlavas we call them as Parthians. Then Kushanas. In this class we will continue with the other dynasties which ruled in this period. Yesterday itself I had introduced you to the Western Kshatrabs. Western Kshatrabs were Parthians. So two branches of Parthians were ruling in north and they called themselves as Northern Kshatrabs with capital at Madura and Taxila. The Western Kshatrabs were Persians or Parthians or Pahlavas who ruled from um, Western and Central India, who ruled over Western and Central India, or Malwa and Kathiawar Peninsula. So Kathiawar we know it is from Gujarat and Malwa it is Gujarat Madhya Pradesh border. So these regions were ruled by the Western Kshatrabs, and these Western Kshatrabs they themselves belong to different dynasties. The earliest Western Kshatrap whom we know about or whom we hear about is one by name Bhumaka. He ruled over Malwa, Gujarat, Kathiawar, parts of Rajputana and Sindh. Apart from Bhumaka, there was another Western Kshatrap known as Nagapana. He assumed the title Rajan. He ruled from Ajmer to Nasik and Pune, and he was defeated by Satavahana king Gautamiputra Satkarni. So during Nagapana's rule, um, the empire extended in the north and the south. See, in the north they ruled Ajmer, which is part of Rajasthan, and in south they ruled Nasik and Pune, which is part of Maharashtra. So after Nagapana, we come to know about another Western Kshatrap ruler by name Chastana. This Chastana is identified with Theosthenes, mentioned in Ptolemy's geography, who ruled with Ujjain as capital. So, uh, and he had recovered some provinces which were lost to Satavahana. So here we come to know about three Western Kshatrap rulers. One is Bhumaka, second is Nagapana, third is Chastana. Chastana was succeeded by his grandson Rudraman. Rudraman defeated Satavahanas. So earlier Satavahanas had defeated Western Kshatraps, but during Rudraman's rule, Rudraman had defeated Satavahanas. He had also defeated another group of rulers called as Yaudeyas. Apart from that, he has also had a lot of large victories. The defeat of Rudraman defeating Yaudehas is mentioned in Junagadh inscription of Rudraman. Junagadh inscription is a very important inscription which every student of history must know. One, it is the first Sanskrit inscription and it was written down or inscribed under the orders of Rudraman in 150 AD. So we know that the first Sanskrit inscription in India was written down in 150 AD only. This inscription is called as Junagadh inscription because it is found in a place called as Junagadh in Gujarat. According to this inscription, Rudraman was well versed in grammar, polity, music, and logic, and he is also famous for his many Sanskrit compositions in prose and poetry. Rudraman was succeeded by his son Damajat Sri. The important Western Kshatrap rulers had assumed the title Mahashatrapa, and sometimes these Mahashatrapas ruled themselves in association with their sons or brothers, calling them as Kshatrapas. When Rudraman was ruling, his son Damajatri was a Kshatrapa and Rudraman was a Mahashatrapa. Numerous coins were issued by Mahashatrapas and Kshatrapa, which help us to enable the lineage of the Western Satraps. After Rudraman, I told you it was Damajat Shri, but after the death of Damajat Shri, the Western Kshatrap lineage had weakened itself. In the north, they were defeated. Their empire was, their provinces, their territories were captured by Malavas. In the south, the territories were captured by Abiras. So there was, yeah, they were weakened after the Damajat. However, Western Kshatraps ruled till 348 AD. In between, the Abiras, who had occupied the Western Kshatrap territories or regions in the south, had commemorated this event with inauguration of a calendar called as Kalachuri era. So it was in 248 or 249 AD. So 248 or 249 AD, the Abiras had defeated the Western Kshatraps, and in order to commemorate this event, they started the Kalachuri era. So in 248 or 249 AD is year one, first year in Kalachuri era, and likewise the calendar goes on. I told you earlier, this is a very confusing period because there are lots of kingdoms. See, there is a place called as Aichatra in Uttar Pradesh, in Bareilly district. In Uttar Pradesh, there is a district called as Bareilly, and in this Bareilly, it was already known as Aichatra. It was based on coins, uh, where rulers ending with names Mitra have been identified. It is said that this Aichatra was a separate province ruled by a group of rulers who had names ending with Mitra. Likewise, Kausambi, again in Uttar Pradesh, in Allahabad. Kausambi is the old name of Allahabad. Rulers ending with name Maha, coins and inscriptions have been found. Coins and inscriptions have been found in this region with where the names of the rulers end with Maha. So it is identified that Aichatra, Kausambi, they were all independent kingdoms ruled by independent families. Likewise in Ayodhya, that is again in Uttar Pradesh, there was a ruler by name Danadeva who was ruling this place in 1st century BC. Nagas were a group, a family. They ruled over Vidisha, Kantipuri, Madura, and Padmavati. Most of these places are in Uttar Pradesh and one in Madhya Pradesh. Apart from these, there were also other dynasties or families ruling over various parts of North India, like Bharasivas, Malavas, Yaudehas. So all these people were ruling North India. So we have studied about various dynasties that were ruling India from 2nd century BC to 3rd century AD. So we identified the Sungas, we identified the Kanvas, we identified the Sakas, we identified the Parthians or Pahlavas, we identified the Kushanas, we identified Western Kshatraps, we identified other dynasties also, smaller dynasties also. Again, they were all ruling North India, West India. In southeast India, that is today's Orissa, in those days was called as Kalinga. And in this Kalinga, there was a ruler by name Karavela. Karavela is an important ruler. His inscription is called as Hadigumba inscription. Hadigumba cave inscription. Orissa's capital, Bhuvaneshwar, and very near to Bhuvaneshwar, you have the Udayagiri Hills. In this Udayagiri Hills, you have this Hadigumba cave inscription. This Hadigumba cave inscription is biography of Karavela of Kalinga. Karavela, according to this inscription, belonged to the third generation of Chedi family of Kalinga. He was a very important military conqueror. He was a good administrator. He was a musician. He had taken up several irrigation projects for the people. He was a devout Jain and he excavated number of caves. in Kandagiri Hill. So Hadigumba cave inscription is a very important inscription, just like Rudraman's Junagadh inscription. So these were some of the families which are ruling India in between 2nd century BC and 3rd century AD. Apart from these families, we will identify one more family and we will study about them in the next class. That is the Satavahana family. This presentation has been made with the help of R.C. Majumdar's book Ancient India, published by Motilal Banarsidass Publishers. Thank you.